Oh, hello. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Of course, things are crazy. Technology has its way of punching us
Yeah.
in the face sometimes.
Yeah, you know what? For somebody who works with technology, I struggle like with technology a lot. Believe it or not, like I have to get new laptops, new cell phones. Like it technology just does not want to work around me sometimes. So sorry about that, but I appreciate you being patient. I'm happy to be here.
No, I get it. I get it. Thank you so much for coming. So, for anybody who doesn't know, I am Nadi Young. I am the owner and founder of Venture Teams, and we help people start businesses, help people who help people, basically. And this is
I'm Keandria Damone. I'm CEO of Taste Marketing and Digital Media. I specialize in content marketing, psychology of marketing, and video and content creation.
awesome. Awesome. So, the name of your company is Taste. I love that, by the
Thank
way.
you.
Why
Thank you.
Taste?
I named my company Taste because that is what I feel like sets me apart. That's what makes my work stand out because I have impeccable taste, right? So as a designer or especially as a designer in any creative field, I feel like what makes the difference is the choices you make when it comes to lighting, color, sound. And I just make good choices when it comes to that, and it reflects itself in my work. So that's why I named my company Taste because it really is largely based off of my personal taste. So everybody who works with me, even though I work with a team of creatives, everything comes across my desk, right? And I'm trying to get out of perfection, being a perfectionist, but everything comes across my desk, and I'm really known for like I will not put anything subpar out. Like we will push the deadline back before I put something out that is less than the quality that I expect. Right. So that's really where it came from, is how particular I am.
Awesome. Well, and too, like I think it's a thin line between, wanting things right and having the ability to get it that way without overthinking it and trying to like nitpick and be perfect.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So
100%.
yeah.
100% agree with you. And I've ran into that in my career. I've ran into that in my career. So you're right, there is a thin line. Sometimes I have to realize when I am overthinking or nitpicking something.
Mhm.
But so to me, I have things that are like deal breakers, and I have things that I'm more flexible with. And I've seen that to make a difference.
Gotcha, gotcha. Because and the reason why I'm bringing that up, it's not even a you thing, right? It's like a lot of the people that I work with are like, yeah, I've recorded this 6 times and I still haven't gotten it.
Oh
Or
yeah.
like I've created a bunch of content, but I never posted it, that kind of thing. And since we're talking about, how to be consistent today, if you never post, well, I guess that's consistent, right? A different version of consistent.
Oh yeah. That's a huge thing though. Huge thing.
Right, right. So how do you know like where's that line for you in like deciding whether or not to post something that you or your team has created?
Like I said, there are things that are deal breakers for me, and so I'm really particular about those deal breakers. Like poor quality. If anything is poor quality, whether it's blurry or it doesn't look, the standard of video today, especially with iPhones and technology we have, is 4K ultra HD, right? So if it's not at least that standard, the quality for me is that's I don't care what else is going on in the video, it needs to be clear, right? Any sort of mistakes as far as editing is an absolute no for me. If you can see somebody doing something twice, if the storyline doesn't make sense, sometimes in the audio, you can hear a little blip in it, just stuff like that, that I have an eye and an ear for. If I catch things like that, like I'm that person in the movie that notices like her hair wasn't just in a ponytail and now it's in a ponytail 2 seconds later. I'm that person who catches that, or he walked through that door twice and stuff like that. Like I cannot do that. Like when I watch a movie, it'll completely distract me, and I don't want to distract the audience. So that's a deal breaker. So Long story short, I say just have things that are deal breakers for you. A good one is quality and mistakes in editing. And for me, everything else I can be flexible about depending on the deadline.
Mm,
My personal I guess my personal practice is if I have time to fix it, I'm gonna fix it, regardless of what
right.
it is. So if we are pushing the deadline and I have time to fix it, then I'll fix it. But if we don't, sometimes you do have to just kind of let go and just post it because some of those things people aren't going to be thinking about like you are. Especially like I said, if it's not a mistake in editing or quality, a lot of that the untrained eye isn't going to notice anyway. So you have to think about it like that. It also, I would say, depend on what you're posting it for, right? Now,
Mm,
say for instance, if it's on my stories or if I'm posting reels, reels are really popular now. And I'm seeing what's becoming popular with reels is a more authentic view into people's worlds. We don't want something over edited. We don't want something scripted and over planned or staged, as you'll see people say in the comments. That's like taboo now. We're wanting more authenticity. So when I'm posting just general content, or maybe if I'm on a not a live, because you wouldn't edit a live, but content like that, I wouldn't say I don't think as deeply about that at all. But like even sometimes the quality or lighting won't be what I want it to be. And I'll be like, but still I'm just posting this to show what I had for breakfast this morning. So, I don't think as
mm,
deeply about that. But something like an advertisement, a commercial, something that's going to be up there permanently, like a YouTube video, I would think more deeply about those. So it also depends on the purpose and the return that you're expecting. So for me, if
mm,
it's anything with sales, like if it's anything advertising and I'm expecting a return from this, then I'm going to be very particular and I will push that deadline before I put something out that's not the quality I want. Whereas something like a reel or something where you're just wanting views and engagement, you're just trying to start a conversation, I'm not as particular about that stuff.
gotcha. Gotcha. So one thing you said is, and the reason why this stuck out to me is that you're just that person. Like even in normal life, like when you're watching a movie and when you're doing other things, right? So basically, what you tell me is this is like your superpower.
It is. It is. It is. And it's something that, and I encourage everybody to, there's quirks and kinks about my personality that some people might have found to be annoying or a bad thing. And it doesn't work for everybody, but I've found a way and I've carved out a lane in my life where that works
Mm,
for me and it's appreciated. So, yes, I'm that person who points out mistakes in movies. I am. I'll also talk through the movie. That doesn't work for everybody, but that eye for like the eye for detail works for me in my career. I'm
mm,
also like that as far as like I'm really scatterbrained. So I've gotten to the point I didn't used to be so open about it, but I've gotten to the point even with my clients. I'll tell them that I'm like, look, I'm really scatterbrained. Sometimes you will like follow it up with an email for one, followed up with an email. Like, and I'll be like, sometimes you will have to text me twice, or I might lose my train of thought. That's who I am as a person. But that
mm,
also is a huge part of me being a creative free thinker, too. So the way
mhm,
I started looking at my life in general and my career was that, if you want the good parts of me, you have to deal with the other parts of me too sometimes. And realistically, in life and business, that's just how it is. Am I saying, oh, I'm unwilling to change? Am I unwilling to accommodate anybody? Absolutely not. I have systems
right,
in place as a business owner, to avoid some of that as workarounds. But the reality is, I'm a human. And I had to
right,
start looking at it like that. Like, I'm a person and this is my personality. And
right,
that's how it is. So, if you want to, like, people come to me specifically, and it's not coming from a place of cockiness, but in the field that I'm in, people come to me specifically because of my creativity. That is, that's the nature of the field that I'm in. So, that exists in the same space with a lot of other personality types, like there's a lot of other characteristics I have too. And I kind of just feel like, if you want the payoff, you deal with my personality too, because I'm a human.
right. And what I like to say is the thing that it makes me qualified to help you is me being me, right? That's
Exactly.
what makes me qualified to help you. It's me
Exactly.
being me. So you want
Exactly.
me to be me, trust me. Cause I am the person who like immediately when you tell me something, I already have like six different ways this could work out, right? But that's what makes me good at what I do, right? I I have immediately like I can think of 10 different paths anytime anybody tells me what their goal, I can see 10 different bridges to it, right?
That's
And that's
awesome.
what makes me good. But also in my real life, it also makes me like, but what if this happens? But what if that happens? But what if
I was
this
gonna say that would make me overwhelmed if I did that. Like
and
I
it
have to focus
does.
on what's in front of me.
Right, exactly. And a lot of times it does, like, right in my life, people are like, you always overthink everything, but that's my superpower, right? The
Yeah.
same thing that brings me so much joy and the same thing that I'm good at is the same thing that drives me crazy.
Yeah. So it's absolutely about your perspective, I think. Like I said, it's carving out. I think a lot of entrepreneurs would benefit from doing that in general. Like if you want to be in business for yourself or you want to actually find a career that makes you happy, it's to find that superpower. What's something about me that is unchanging,
Mm,
right? That it's who I am and how can I make a living off of that? How can I capitalize off of
right. Yes, yes. I love Yes, this is what I'm here for. And
that?
that's literally why I started this because I feel like a lot of people are like, I have 50 million ideas and I don't know which one to start, or I really want to work for myself. I don't want to work for anybody, but what do I even do? Or even this lady today, she told me, I just feel like I don't know how to do anything and like what could I help with? And I'm like, every person on earth has a
Literally.
superpower. Everybody.
Literally, yeah, like
You are good at something. There is something that is ingrained in you that you just naturally do all the time. No matter what else is going on, you find yourself doing this. What is that thing? Now, let's talk about how you can get paid for it.
I love that.
That's
I
it.
love that.
Like that's how I want to spend my life, right? Like just helping people get paid for their purpose. Like you're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're just doing it for free. So let's just talk about how you can get paid for it.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I ended up being an entrepreneur. You know, people ask you all the time, why did you become an entrepreneur? My story, my reality is like I'm just not a good employee. Like I'm not like I'm not a good employee. I kept losing jobs. I would like you see, like I swear, like I would be questioning what the manager did. Like I don't like blind authority at all. I have a million questions, and I'm the type of person that if I see an easier or better way to do something, I'm gonna do it that way. And I kept doing that in jobs, and you can't do that in jobs. Like I understand that this is not my company. I can't just be out here doing what I want to do and challenging my manager. But that's how I ended up being an entrepreneur. Is I realized, I could make that work for me, and I could work for myself. And that's
Mm,
essentially what I do now with people's businesses. Let's figure out the better way to do this. Let's figure out the smarter way to do this.
mm, right. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And speaking of better and smarter, right? So many business owners, like when they're getting started and when they're going about it, they struggle with like having the ability to keep going because me personally, I make a bad employee because I'm going, like you said, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and you're gonna see me when you're gonna see me. When something more important come up, it's gonna be and my thing is, I will only in a job. My real issue is I will only do what you hold me to. I will only do what you hold me to. If you let me miss every other day, I'm gonna miss every other day. If you let me like whatever you letting me do, I'm gonna do.
Because why not?
Right. Exactly, exactly. Versus like when working for myself, I feel like I hold myself to a higher standard than anybody else ever could because I
Yes.
know what I'm actually capable of, right? But so many entrepreneurs, people who want to own businesses, they say they don't want to work for anyone else, but they have trouble holding themselves to that standard, right? They have trouble being consistent. They have trouble being disciplined, right? Like staying, like maintaining their business. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, I understand. I
It's
definitely understand.
and I just and honestly, when I first started out, I had that trouble too. Like I couldn't figure out. It's like I really want to do this. I know I don't want to work for anybody else. Yet I didn't post that post. Yet I didn't do that thing, right? The thing that I
Mm,
know that I need to do in order to make money.
yeah.
So how do you stay? And it was like when I first started, some days, and even now, if I'm being totally honest, some days I'm like, let's go. I'm in business. I'm doing my thing, I'm in my zone. Other days I'm just like, right.
Yeah, like this blows, right? Like I've had days like that. Everybody has days like that. For me, my best advice for one is planning, especially with content. Doing batch content is really it's really beneficial if you have times like that, because everybody has times like that though. So one thing I always recommend to clients is actually to have like a bank or an arsenal of just content you can pull from it, any. Start a document in your phone, like start notes in your phone, and just when you see inspiring quotes, save them in a document as captions. So when you have a picture and you don't know what caption to put, you can go to this document, scroll, and you already have a bank of things to pick from here. I do that myself. Just if I pass something on Instagram or if I hear a song lyric, I'm saving that, and it's this long, super long document from like 2019 in my iCloud. It's really, really long, but I always pull from it to this day. Like say I have a picture, whatever I have that I want to post, or if I see a meme, I have an album in my phone that is batch content, and I just, if
Mm,
there's a time where it's like it's 3 o'clock, I know I need to post, I'm not feeling this. Okay, what do I have in my arsenal that I can post? And I pull something out,
mm.
and I can always show up.
And this is me writing this down because yes,
Because it works. It really works. And you're not just forcing yourself to post something. What I don't do is post uninspired, lackluster content, quotes, or whatever. I never get up and say, I can't think of anything to say, but let me just say something real quick. Because I don't do that. So when I
right.
have those moments of inspiration, when I have those moments of creativity or something moves me, you know when you react to
Mm,
something because you feel it. You have a physical
yes.
response to it. So when I see something, I'm like, oh, that's good. I save it. I even have times like in conversations where I'll say something a lot. I'm like, caption. I'm like totally gonna use that. And
I need to
in my
make
head,
that
I'm
a
like, I
video.
already know the selfie I'm gonna put with that. And I'll literally sometimes I'll have a caption that I thought was so good. I will go and take a picture or a video to go with it. Sometimes it starts with the storytelling instead of just
Mm.
that piece of content.
Gotcha. Man, that was awesome. Like, and you know what? Like, as I'm thinking about this too, like, I am the type of person who, like, I literally think about this kind of stuff all day and all night, right? So, like, I'll just be randomly walking around my house and I'll think of something. I'll be like, ooh, that would make a good post. And then I won't do it in that moment, but then later on, it won't have the same like vibe to it, right? As when it was fresh.
Yeah.
So like the content idea just gave me the idea, like, why not just record it in that moment and then use
And
it,
save
like
it.
put it in the bank for later. Yeah. So like
Mhm.
thank you. I
Yep.
I definitely appreciate that because like that's definitely a gem that I can use because I'm not a person who can like you said, I don't want to just post, oh, let me just put something up here because I need
People
to.
can tell. They can 100% tell.
Yes,
They
and
can.
you don't wanna be disingenuous at the same time. It's hard to control when you're creative, right?
Yeah.
Like, when creativity comes upon you, you just kinda gotta use it.
Which is how that I learned to do that, because I have times like that. Like I'll have a time where I literally will be just feeling creative, and I'll be going till 3 a.m. and then I won't feel like doing anything for 2 days. I literally have days like that.
Yeah.
So when I have those days, what do? I had to learn to pull from stuff, and I even one thing I'll do, I don't know how it will work for everybody's business, but me being a content creator and an artist that has a portfolio, I even repurpose some of my content. I'll pull
Mhm.
it out again, especially if it didn't get the views and stuff that I want. I'll be like, y'all gonna see this again in a different context. Y'all are gonna see it again, and I'll bring it up and be like, remember when I posted this, or here's another thing about it, or something like that, or oh, I'm
Right.
still so in love with this logo suite that I did, something like that.
Mhm.
I make it make sense. It's not just
Right.
random. I'm not just because I hate when people do that. I hate when I see people constantly reposting the same content with no new context. So we don't mind seeing it again, but tell us why we're seeing it again. Why should we still be
Give me
interested?
a
Or at
different view
least
on it.
have the courtesy to spark another conversation. Don't just make us look at it 4 times.
Right, right. Give me a different view on it. Let's talk about
Exactly.
something different. Yes, yes. Gotcha, gotcha. And I'm a big, so like me, like I said, when I see something, I immediately think of 10 different scenarios, right? So that works for me. And reusing my content, I definitely do. I think when people think of reusing content though, they think of posting like the same thing over and over and over again.
No,
But I just want to give a quick example of how to reuse content without posting the exact same thing. Anybody that's been watching this series so far may or may not have noticed that I use the same background every time.
I
All
like
I
that.
do is change the words. I change the words to your number one piece of advice, right? And I use this filter and I change the filter to make the color different, but the background remains the same. You know what I'm saying? So like, yes, I'm reusing it, so I'm not having to go out and find a different picture and this and that and the
Right.
other thing. But it's not me just using the same exact thing every single time.
But what's funny I didn't know you didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell you. So from a marketing standpoint, that actually works because it psychologically makes your customers or viewers more comfortable. Even if they don't notice they're seeing repeat images, they like to see some sort of consistency, right? So
Mm.
you using the same image just in a different context actually makes people more inclined to stay and watch when there's something familiar.
Well, good. I'm glad to know that because,
Yeah,
in the
that's
beginning,
actually
I
a good
felt kind
idea.
of bad about it, but then I was like,
I would recommend doing that. That's a good idea.
awesome, awesome. So, like, for you, though, what I would like to know from you is how do you suggest like reusing content when people are marketing, right? They're putting out their videos, they're constantly consistently trying to think of new stuff, and they're like, I just don't even know what to say anymore, I don't know what to do anymore, I'm out of content. What do you suggest for that?
You actually just put me in the mind of like I had a friend who I was talking to, who was an artist. He was like a singer, and we were talking about that same thing, like being exhausted with social media. And he made a comment like, everybody in the world hasn't seen it. There's no
Mhm.
like everybody in the world hasn't seen it. So how exhausted are you? How many people have you put in front of it? So the advice that I give with that, a huge piece is that if you feel exhausted, like I have nothing else to say, I have no more content to give, I think it's time to expand your audience. Put it in front of different people,
Hmm.
especially if it's to the point where they're not engaging with you anymore. They might be bored with it. Your audience can get bored, but they're not the only people in the world. There's a lot of people, so expand, network, branch out, So if I'll even like, I'll take content, like if I meet a new network of people or a new group of people, especially like in Facebook groups and stuff, if I meet a new group, it's 2022. I had some bomb work in 2020. They might not have seen yet, So it's like,
Right,
by the
right.
way, look at what I did, and they respond to it because they've never seen it before. A fresh piece
Mhm.
of content is going to be fresh to new people.
Right.
So if you feel like you've exhausted everything with your content, unless you like the level of superstar, huge company, so I'm talking big like Apple. Geico, where we might get done to death with their commercials, right? Because it's on such a large scale. But a
Right.
business owner the size of like a small business owner, I don't think there's a reason for you to be exhausted with your content. You just need to put it in front of different people.
Mm. And too, like something, and something you said just sparked this thought in my brain. And there's no way that if you're doing the right thing, if you're in the right business, right? Like you said, if you're using your superpower, you're the expert. Having those thoughts and knowing those things and just having that flow from you that way is what makes you the expert,
Yeah.
right? That's what makes you the expert. So it's like, be you. There's your content, right?
Yeah.
Even as a store owner, owner of physical products, right? When I owned physical products, when my store consisted of physical products, it was products that related to my life. It was things that I was actually using. So what did I do? You create
Use them.
content of me using it, right? Like what? That's what makes you the expert. That's what makes you the person that people go to, right? They want to know your thoughts. They want to do it. They want to know
Mhm.
how they want to see your references, right? That's what makes you the expert. It's okay. There is no reason that as a person that uses something every day or every week or every month, even, that you can't think about this in a different way, that you
Yeah.
can't say something else or even something you've already said in a different way about this.
I think a huge part of it is people holding themselves to standards in the industry or trying to kind of do it how they see other brands doing it. So you're like, oh, I don't know what to
Mhm.
post. I don't know what to do. That's because you're holding yourself to a standard of what they are doing, but you don't know what their day to day looks like. It might, that's the type of content that their audience responds to. That might not be feasible for you, you know? So I think that it is, like you said, largely based on what works for you. What does your day to day look like with your business? What does your day to day look like for your customers? That's something that's always, you can never go wrong showing somebody how to use something, whether it's clothes, a beauty product, food, like it does not matter. You can never go wrong with the behind the scenes or showing somebody how to do it. That's always a content option. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how many times you've showed them, they will always respond to you using it. That's just
Mhm.
how it is. That's just how audience, that's like it's based on audience behavior. That's just how their brains work. They just want to see you doing it.
Right, right. And so, like, my thing is too, like, if you don't, and this is just based on something that you said there, if you don't go at your own pace, right? You're trying to keep up with these big companies. You're trying to keep up with Apple and all these other people. And the thing about it is, if you don't go a pace that you can go forever, that's what causes you not to be consistent.
Hmm.
That's what causes you not to be consistent. If you're trying to create videos like me, I like to talk. So I can do this right here all day. Okay. But if you're afraid to have your face on the camera, then you probably won't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a huge one. Huge one. So many business owners now think they have to be the face of their brand and they have to be behind the camera all the time. And that is not the case. Now, I would
exactly.
say, depending on your business, it might matter. So think about that when you're thinking of starting a business. Think about how present you want to be in the brand. But that's not the case with everybody. You don't have to be the one on video all the time. And there's ways to construct the video or plan the video where it's not necessary for somebody to be on camera.
Exactly. Exactly. But my thing is, so many people, like, you are messing it up because you trying to do it like me. I
Mhm.
guarantee you there are some people out there who need a business consultant who don't want to hear you talk. There are some people out there, you know what I'm saying though? Like,
Yes,
it,
absolutely.
the thing is that my audience likes hearing from me. I I've been told I'm like a big sister. I've been told, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. I like talking. I want to talk it out. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to give you my thoughts. Let's work together and figure this thing out. We're a team,
Hmm.
right? But everybody doesn't work that way. Some people just want to be told what to do. You know, like you gotta find what works for you
What
and
works for
stay
you?
in your lane. The people that need you, somebody needs you, like
Yeah.
in the way that only you can do it. So figure out what works for you and stay in that lane, man. You just gotta find your lane.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I also feel like a huge part of what impacts people's consistency, I would say, is um it's a lot of it is in your head as far as like life happens, right?
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of the time too, we have to give ourselves grace. You know, you have to not be so hard on yourself. If you do miss one day, should you be consistent? Yes, but don't beat yourself up because you didn't post on time. Just get up the next time and post on time. You know what I mean? That's the only solution to that. So I think I've run into a lot of people that tell me they have that problem too. Is they're like, you know, I just can't seem to get into it, and I'm really hard on myself, and now, you know, I'm discouraged, because that's where you end up. You end up discouraged and having no motivation because you were so hard on yourself. Whereas what the smarter thing to do and the more productive thing to do would have been to just keep going. That's why I say consistency. So when I say consistency, that does not mean realistically you are going to be able to show up every day. And I see people post those quotes on social media and they're cute. They're very cute. But in business and in life, you're not going to be able to show up to everything every time, every day. That's not realistic. It's not feasible. And as you said earlier, an unrealistic goal is one of the first things that stops people from being consistent. So when I say consistency, I don't mean actually showing up. I mean your effort, your motivation, and your intentions to do it, right?
Mm.
That's what I mean. So I have days where I'm like, this video is going to be out this day. I'm going to do this that day. I have a whole calendar that maps out my day. Sometimes I don't hit my mark, but you better believe that next mark, I'm going to hit it. I'm not going to impact Wednesday because I didn't achieve something on Tuesday. I always get up and I keep going. So when I say consistency on all fronts in life and in business, that's what I mean. It's not about how many times you show up or how many times you hit your goal. It's how many times you keep going and decide, I'm going to do my best to keep showing up.
Right, right. And my thing is, it's about consistency does not mean perfection.
Exactly.
Consistency does not mean
It does
perfection.
not mean perfection at all. That's
You
not
don't
attainable.
exactly, you don't have to get it right every time. You don't have to be right every time. You don't have to do it every single day. But when you do fall off, consistency means, like you said, when you do fall off, you got to get back on. When you
Keep
do
going.
get it wrong, do it again so that you have another opportunity to get it right.
Opportunity. Yep.
It's not about perfection. It's about doing it again and really making that continual progress.
Yep.
That was
Absolutely.
awesome. That was awesome. So I think that needed to be said. I really had to get that one off my chest because so many
Yeah.
feel like that, right? Like I'm just not consistent. I just can't do this every single day. I can't do this every single I can't post 6 times a day every day. I
Because
can't do
that's a
this and that.
lot
And I'm like,
for anybody. It is.
thank you. Thank
That
you.
is a lot.
So
And so, go ahead.
and my thing is, right, even if even those people that you see posting every single day or doing stuff every single week, a lot of times it's not because they're doing it. It's because they have the systems in place. So when those things happen, when they have those bad days, when they have those bad weeks, bad months, bad times, when they fall, when life gets crazy, right? When the kids wake up too early, they have those things in place that can really help them to move forward anyway, right? Like Facebook, I think I said this last week, but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok all have post scheduling. So
Mhm.
as a business owner, you should be scheduling your posts by at least a week. So if you do it every Monday, but this Monday something crazy happens, you can catch it on Tuesday and be okay because you gave yourself that space.
Yep. I was gonna say it's me. I'm one of those people. I have to plan ahead of time. I absolutely have to plan ahead of time because you never know what's gonna happen. And I have learned that I've learned for me, my not that my personal life has to take a priority, but my mental health does. Me as
Yes.
a person has to take a priority. So there are days where I'm not able to perform like I would like to, but I got that trusty bank of content, that I can pull up. So there's days
Yes,
where
yes.
I'm online, I'm motivational, I'm uplifting, I'm teaching about marketing, and I'm having a terrible day. I might be in bed, you know what I mean? Like I might be in bed soaking that day. I might be out of town dealing with a sick family member. You never know, but you
Mm,
wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you because I planned for it. And the thing that
right.
made me start to plan for it, I guess I have a story that's kind of different. I think because I was one of those people that I eat, sleep, breathe, business. I didn't care what else was going on. I barely slept. I was one of those people, those people you see 10 times a day posting. You're like, when did she go to bed? When is she working? I was that person at some point, and a lot of my I would say a lot of my following now, or the people who I connect with a lot of, I don't like to call people followers, even that's literally what they are, but I think more so that my network, right? That I built that being that active and that present all the time. My brand was all over the place. And then at the end of 2020, my husband passed away. And so suddenly my world came to a crashing halt. Oh, that was an unfortunate choice of words. But it came to a halt. You know what I mean? It stopped, right? Like everything around me stopped. I didn't care what was going on, but I got to a place too that was such a beautiful place I got to where I realized I am still
Yeah.
parent with me that said life for the living,
Mm,
right? And so I got to a place where, are you able to hear me?
yeah. You cut out for a
Okay,
minute, but
so
you came back.
hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I can hear you though. You cut out for a second, but you came back.
Okay, so I'll just keep going as long as you can hear me. If the audio's frozen, that's fine. But somebody shared a quote with me that said, "Life is for the living." I believe it was my mom that said that. That pretty
Mm,
much, the reality is, even though I might not have liked the situation I was in, I had to keep going. So when I say consistency on all fronts is necessary, and you can't expect anything to be fruitful if you're not, I had to face that reality. Like, hey, am I gonna sit here in my bed and cry all day? Or am I going to get up and keep moving and keep going? Because at the end of the day, I still have to raise and provide for his son now by myself, you know?
mm,
So that changed my outlook as far as showing up, period. I was like, on both ends, as far as I'm like, okay, I have a new motivation now. I'm going to get up, I'm going to keep going. But I also learned because of that situation, hey, sometimes I do have bad days, and that's
mm.
okay. Sometimes business is not the most important thing in the world to me, and that is okay. It can't always take a
Right,
priority. But I also learned have systems in place to where, I'm not completely drowning if I have to take time off.
right, right. And you don't want to start to resent your business either, because that happens like
That is a great point.
when life is going on, like when life is happening, and the kids have this going on, the kids are sick, and the whole point of starting the business, right, is for the freedom. And now the kids are sick and you can't even take care of them because you feel like you're chained to the business. Or, like, man, I'm so sorry that happened to you, like whatever. I just recently had a death in my family. Death in the family happens and you can't even attend because you're chained to the business, right? You
The
don't want to
business.
be that person. You did this for the freedom. More than likely, most entrepreneurs, um, a bunch of studies say that most entrepreneurs do it for the freedom. So you did this for the freedom. Don't get
Yep.
chained to it. Don't make it another job, that you have to show up for a certain amount of hours in order to get paid from it. Like, you want to set yourself up to where, regardless if I'm here, if I'm having a good day, if I'm having a bad day, I'm still on the road to success.
Hmm. Something that I don't know why it just sparked this thought, but something you said just sparked the thought as far as resenting your business or not wanting to show up. A lot of, and this is something I don't think I've spoken to anybody about, but a lot of what I've learned with my consistency is there are days I don't want to show up. So I
Mhm,
had to start figuring out why don't I want to show up, and I had to change that. I had to set those boundaries. So I
mhm,
always teach people like social media is not just it's not just a fun little thing we're doing on our phones. It is an exchange of energy, and there
mhm,
are people there are presences there's content there that will drain you of your energy. It will rub you the wrong way. It literally, it can even spark depression, right?
mhm,
And that it's the same thing in business. Who am I interacting with? Who am I talking to? Why do I not want to show up? And so a huge thing that helped me with my consistency was creating boundaries, making my business a place I wanted to show up to. And I think
mhm,
I think we don't talk about that enough, because that can make a huge difference. Because for me, when you say resenting your business, or feeling like this life happened and I can't even, like with my, for instance, with my husband passing away, I went through a point where I wanted to quit marketing, because I'm like, my spouse passed away a week ago and you guys are emailing me. Like, I was
mhm,
just like, no, I can't. I didn't even, I'm like, I don't even have the space to grieve, because my customers are that selfish. They don't care. Like, I literally had people messaging me like, business is business. I need my product. And I'm just like, I was like,
Well,
I'm
first of
done.
all,
Like, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm out of here. But I realized, I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that. Because
mhm,
on the same hand, somebody saying that to me, also people reaching out to me saying, hey, I just want to uplift you. I don't want anything. I'm praying for you. Clients telling me that.
mhm,
Clients, I had one client, she's so dope. She offered me coaching afterwards. She was like, free of cost. I just want to help you get back on your feet, because I know that's something that that was a huge blow to you. I just want to help. I just want to uplift you. And so I realized, I was like, I need to be more selective of who I'm giving my time to. And the people that were
mhm,
making me want to quit, I cut them off. I didn't care if I had to give a refund. I didn't care what that looked like. I cut ties with them. And since then, I keep that attitude. If I have a day where I'm like, I can't do this no more because you are acting up, you have.
right. Yes, yes. I had a client one time, and you know, I feel like I always do a preliminary session before you pay me, because I want to make sure that we can get along. But I
Yes.
had this lady one time who, over time, it evolved into her saying I was like working for somebody, trying to get over on her. I like some man sent me into her life to do her all kind of crap. Like, literally, this lady literally told me
People are
this.
weird.
And
That's
I
funny.
was like,
That
listen,
shouldn't be funny, but what?
I don't know this man, and we've been talking for the last few months now. If you feel like I'm not doing everything I can to help you, and I'm not doing what's in your best interest, then, you know, this is over with. And after like a couple weeks later, she came back to me and she was like, I was out of line, and life was just really bad, and things, all this and this and that was happening. And I was like, listen, I totally understand that. And
But
I hope the best for you. But this is
yeah,
over with.
I appreciate the apology, but
Right. But this is dead. Like, I love you, but you gotta go.
and
Um
that's fair. And I'm the type of person, I would have felt guilty for that at one point. But I had to choose at some point. I had to pick my sanity and other people's feelings. Like,
mm,
I'm a Cancer. If that gives you any indicator, like I'm a super empath. Like, I will. I will put anybody's feelings ahead of mine, and I get deep into my feelings when I feel like I'm letting somebody down. So there was a point where cutting off a client, even if they showed abusive customer behavior, would have made me feel bad, because I'm like, this lady's business. She's stressed out. She's going through a lot, and then that cost me a whole lot of
Mm,
money and a whole lot of stress. So I
right.
had to start feeling bad about that, because I'm like, look, what really feels bad is taking all these losses. This negative in my payroll account feels bad. That's what I don't like.
Right, right. My kids not being able to eat feels a little bit
That
worse to me.
that would be worse. That would probably be worse.
So yeah, I totally get it. We're coming up on time though, so I want to ask you, what is your number one piece of advice for the people out there?
In life or business?
Both.
Okay. So my number one piece, I think in life and business, my number one piece of advice that I would say is consistency. It's to show up and make a commitment to show up. And if there are things getting in the way of you showing up, be committed to changing those.
Mm,
I think that you can't expect anything to be fruitful, and you can't expect results if you're not showing up realistically. That's in life. If you're not trying at something, you cannot expect it to pay off for you. In business, if you're not willing to invest, if you're not willing to put in the work, you cannot expect it to pay off for you long term anyway. Right. So I think that would be my biggest piece of advice. And also, I think to unapologetically set boundaries. I think,
mm,
like I said, I don't think we talk about that enough. Unapologetically. So don't just set the boundary. Don't beat yourself up about it either, because you cannot be, like you said earlier, you have to be yourself, be your best self.
mm,
You can't prioritize yourself, your business, or your family if somebody is constantly crossing that line with you.
mm. Ooh, you just beat me up with that one. That was amazing, and that's why I wanted you on, man. Like I love you. I've been following you for a while now, and I love your stuff. I love
Oh,
your
thank
content.
you. I appreciate that.
So then my second question is, speaking of following you, for the viewers out there who have been watching along with us, where can they find you? What do you have going on? That kind of thing.
Absolutely. Okay, so on Facebook, that's probably my favorite platform. I'm Keandria Damone. On Instagram, it's at Keandria, Kiandria, just my first name. Also, my company is Taste Marketing ATL, if you search it anywhere. Right now, I'm excited because I have my first class coming up. I've been wanting to do a class for so long. Yeah, I've been wanting to do a class for so long. And what was stopping me was really, I felt like I'm like, I can't give the value that I need to give in just like a downloadable course. I couldn't do it.
Mm,
So it occurred to me to have a virtual class that I can give a more hands-on interaction. So that's what this class will be. So it's surviving social media boot camp. So it's a 3-hour class. It's going to be split into 2 parts. So we'll have a break in between. We'll cover the content of my ebook. That's also something you guys can check out on my website, tastembm.com. Pretty much my ebook it's just what it sounds like. It's the ultimate survival guide to running a business on the internet. Period.
mm,
Not just social media. In the digital age, you can't effectively run a business without social media, without the internet, without a website and all of that, but it can be stressful. So it's a lot of tips and teachables on how to do that. So in my class, we're going to go over that content, and we're also it'll be an opportunity to have like a face-to-face interaction with me, asking me questions. So I'll talk about how to get into the mind of your customer, how to boost your views, how to create videos. Now, I have to give a disclaimer. A lot of people want me to teach like the software so bad, and that's not what this one is. And I want to be transparent that that's not what this one is. So if you're interested in that, that would be something separate. I'm not opposed to that, but this class is more so about the strategy behind it, right? Because you could go on YouTube and learn Photoshop. You can play around with
mm.
Photoshop long enough and learn the technical side, but what cannot be taught is taste. You see what I
Yes,
did there?
yes.
The eye for
Okay,
detail and knowing your audience and your marketing, that is not something that's as easily taught unless by an expert. And that's something that I'm wanting to share with
yes, I love it. I love it. Oh, sorry, that's the see, that's the bell for everybody.
everybody. That
Um,
timing was great. Like that was
yes,
immaculate timing.
right, right. So yes, And for anybody who has been working with me or who has been thinking about it, I have partnered with Keandre. I'm so
Yes.
excited because listen, I'm telling you, I'm thinking about being in this class myself, honestly. But regardless, for anyone who decides to start to work with me, we are going to be partnering up. And anytime you purchase a course on from me to work to join one of my masterminds, you'll also be getting access to her course and her ebook. And it is going to be
Yes.
amazing. I know y'all saw me in here taking notes, so get ready. Okay, this is just in conversation. This wasn't planned or anything, so it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be amazing, and I'm so excited. And finally, I just want to say thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you.
This
I
was
appreciate you
great.
having
Like I said, me and my little notes, I'm going
me.
I'm definitely going to implement some things. So thank you so much. You're an amazing business owner.
Thank you.
I know complaints are easy to come by, so I just want to say thank you. Somebody out here, me, is watching and listening, and so grateful for everything that you put out there, everything that you do.
Thank
So
you. I
I hope
appreciate
you
that.
have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see where your business goes from here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for saying that. I do. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for having me. This is dope. It's absolutely dope. I'm gonna keep tuning in. I just appreciate you for having me and giving me the time and space to talk. This was a great conversation.
Awesome, awesome. Ah, it is not being my friend today. I cannot end the stream.
Me neither.
I don't know. What is happening with this technology today? Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
It's me probably. I'm telling you, I'm like an omen when it comes to for some reason, live streaming always goes bad when I'm a part of it. No, don't take that. Like if anybody's thinking about doing a live stream with me, like don't. But it does. So what I'll do is I'll
Don't
just go
change your
ahead and
mind.
sign out. Right, right. Don't let this be an indicator because you see it's still a great conversation. But I'll just go ahead and sign out and then maybe it'll stop the stream. Or at least give you like some time to
This is
log out of it.
insane. Yo, it is not liking me.